Good morning, everyone. This is Todd Lamb, Assistant Commissioner for Communications at the Southland Conference. Welcome to the Week 4 Football Coaches Weekly Conference Call. Appreciate your participation each week. You may find the Southland Conference release online at southland.org. We're also streaming this call live there. It'll be available for playback later today. We have muted all phone lines, so you need to press star 6 to unmute your line speak or to ask a question. I want to go over a few other guidelines for the call. We do restrict this call for official news gathering media members only. The general public, including fans and fan websites, are prohibited from participating during the live call. We ask that you do not place the call on hold or use the speakerphone function at any time while on the call. And like I said, we have muted all phone lines, and the only way to unmute your line is to press star 6. Media, prior to asking a question, please identify yourself by name and media organization, and then any violation of these guidelines may lead to immediate disconnection from the call. I want to go over last week's results from week 3. Sam Houston State beat Texas Southern 55-17. McNeese State beat West Alabama 44-42. Stephen F. Austin beat McMurray 50-13. Lamar lost at Oklahoma State 59-3. Southeastern Louisiana lost at number 6 South Dakota State 34-26. Central Arkansas lost to Tennessee Martin 24-23. Northwestern State lost at Cincinnati 66-9, and Nicholls lost to Louisiana Lafayette 70-7. All 8 teams back in action in Week 4. A pair of 2 o'clock games, including Southeastern Louisiana at Samford and Northwestern State at Alabama Birmingham. Langston is at Nicholls at 6. Sam Houston State plays host to Incarnate Word at 6. Stephen F. Austin welcomes Montana State at 6. That game is available on ESPN3. We have 3 7 o'clock games on Saturday, including Central Arkansas at Missouri State, Bacone College at Lamar, and Weber State at McNeese. So that's full slate this week. As we mentioned, Incarnate Word is at Sam Houston State, and the 2 other future Southland Conference members, Abilene Christian is at Illinois State, and this week Houston Baptist is off. Want to look at the polls. We have 3 teams continued to be ranked in this week's poll. Sam Houston State is number 5 in both polls. These polls are the Sports Network poll and the FCS Coaches poll. McNeese is number 12 in the Sports Network poll and number 13 in the Coaches poll, and Central Arkansas is number 13 in the Sports Network poll and number 14 in the Coaches poll. Southeastern Louisiana and Northwestern State are receiving votes in the Sports Network poll. Players of the week last week on offense, Cody Stroud, the McNeese State quarterback. He tied a single game school record with 5 touchdown passes and threw for a career high 366 yards in the Cowboys' 44-42 win over West Alabama. He set a school record with 14 consecutive completions. The defensive player of the week, Tanner Brock from Sam Houston State. He recorded 7 tackles and 2 tackles for loss in leading Sam Houston's defense in a 55-17 win over Texas Southern. He had 2 quarterback sacks totaling 10 yards. Special teams player of the week, Xavier Robertson from Southeastern Louisiana. He set a school record with his 3rd career kickoff return for a touchdown, scoring on an 82-yard return at South Dakota State last week. He totaled 192 yards on 5 returns for an average of 38.4 yards. I want to go ahead and move on to the coaches portion of the call today. Coach Conque, are you with us? You may need to press star 6 to unmute your phone line.
Yes, Todd, I'm here.
All right. Joined now by Clint Conque, the head coach at Central Arkansas. Last week, the Bears lost to Tennessee Martin 24-23, and this week visit Missouri State at 7 p.m. To wrap up a 3-game road trip. Coach, talk a little bit about that narrow defeat last week, and then give us a preview of what you're expecting from the Bears at Missouri State.
Okay, Todd, thanks. Certainly not our best effort overall, certainly in the first half. Had 125 yards of total offense and shot ourselves in the foot on a couple of drives into Tennessee Martin territory. Fell behind 14-0. I didn't have a lot of energy, came out a little flat, and just didn't look real excited about playing a college football game. And sort of that responsibility falls on my shoulder to make sure we're excited to compete every week. With that said, I was very proud of our team, how we fought back and rallied and played very hard and put ourselves in a position to win the game, but had a field goal blocked at the end of the game, which not sure we deserved to win, but we certainly put ourselves an opportunity to do that. And I think that this football team continues to identify who it wants to be, how we want to play, and leadership involved. With that said, we move forward to this week on the road for our third consecutive week. We knew this would be a very tough stretch of travel before our open date, and certainly looking for some improvement in some areas of our football team. Missouri State out of the Missouri Valley Conference, a typical Midwestern Missouri Valley looking team, very big, very physical, play extremely hard, don't make a lot of mistakes. Last week lost on the last play of the game at Murray State on the road where they had the lead. Rushed for nearly 400 yards of offense and had over 500 yards of total offense in a close loss. This will be the third time that we've played Missouri State, once at home and once on the road, but the first time in the last 5 or 6 years. So it's an opportunity for us to improve and get better and compete on the road.
All right, we'll go ahead and open it up for questions now for Coach Clint Conque at Central Arkansas. Media, you may need to press *6 to unmute your line, and we do ask that you identify yourself by name and media organization. Questions for Coach Conque? Coach, you talk about putting yourself in a situation to win that game last week. We're driving, turned the ball over, I think at the 8-yard line, and then forced them to punt and took the ball back over on your side of the field with 30 seconds left, and then put yourself in a position there to win it at the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, our sense of urgency in the second half, was much better. I thought our, competitiveness as athletes was much better. But we have to learn, similar to the Colorado game, you got to play 64 minutes, and you have to execute in critical situations. I thought we did that in that last, 40 seconds of the game, because we didn't have any timeouts left, and we gave ourselves a shot at a 42-yard field goal. Both of our kickers were dinged up at that time, so the kick was blocked, and the young man made an extraordinary effort. But we're trying to get some kickers healthy around here too. So, but I think if our football team learns anything, is that you've got to play for 60 minutes, and we're not making a ton of mistakes, but we're making critical mistakes that are keeping our football team from getting in the end zone or defending. I thought our tackling wasn't very good, but if we come out and play like we did in the second half with the fire and the energy and the overall execution that we displayed in the second half, we can become a pretty good football team. But until we do that, we're gonna be in these struggles week in and week out.
Coach, this is Dave McCollum from Waltham Democrats. Is it any, as far as the psychological and motivational aspect, is it any change or any more difficult to kind of motivate a team after a loss like this and after a loss like Colorado?
Well, I think those were two tough losses. Two fourth quarter, losses that even the most veteran of teams is going to affect. What I'm hoping is that we can call on these young men's competitive spirit, and refine our execution. I think in our luncheon yesterday we talked about going back to some fundamentals and execution things. Day 1, 2, and 3 of fall camp installation, and make sure that we can execute just in all 3 phases the areas that we need to be good in. And there's a lot of genius and creativity and on every staff, and certainly on our staff, but we've got to get back to blocking and tackling better and executing at a higher level. Here, this is our last non-conference game before we go into conference play. So we haven't won on the road in 2 games, and certainly we know that not only do you have to play well at home in conference, you have to play well on the road too. So this is a big football game for our team this year.
Coach, Alex Hickey from Lake Charles American Press.
Yes.
Last year you guys had a knack for pulling out these time games. You look at Sam Houston, McNeese with the fourth quarter heroics.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously they expect to win. So this group, I guess, a little stunned by not pulling this one out. And in the long run, do you think that actually could help express that message you said about the 60 minutes? And
yeah, I mean,
that kind of effort from the start.
Well, I don't think you have to look much further than 2 teams within our conference that you just mentioned. We were very fortunate to win 2 close games down the stretch in conference play last year, and both of those teams went on to win the rest of their regular season games. And so, again, it's not, the adversity, it's how we respond to the adversity. And I do think that our football team and our players here expect to win, but, if you live on the cliff long enough, you're eventually going to fall off. And that happened to us against Georgia Southern in the second round of playoffs last year, where we had a drive to go tie the game, overturned by review, and we fell off the cliff there. And then last Saturday, we decided to start playing our brand of football, in the second half. And we lived up on that edge, and we fell off. So it's how we respond, and hopefully our football team will respond in the right way. I think that they're a little angry and disappointed, and those are all good things for me to see as a coach. And we need to come out and play well for 60 minutes because, don't look at Missouri State's record. All you have to do is look at their film and how they played Iowa and how competitive they were last week. Should have beaten Murray State and on the road. And this is a big, strong, physical football team. They remind me a lot of McNeese, the way they run the football and play action pass. So we've got a huge challenge on the road this week. But hopefully we will respond in a similar way that 2 of our conference schools did last year, because we'll certainly point to that as mature teams that handled tough losses in the right way.
Thank you. Anything else for Coach Conque? All right, Coach, appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Coach Stubbs, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
All right, joined now by Charlie Stubbs, the head coach at Nicholls State. Last week, the Colonels lost at Louisiana Lafayette, 70-7, and this week finally get a home game, play host to Langston Saturday at 6 p.m. Coach, talk a little bit about that loss last week, and then obviously, looking forward to your home opener this Saturday.
Well, it was a tough loss. We, it's amazing how things go in just 7 or 8 days. You go from a big win for the program against Western Michigan, then the next week you get beat soundly by Louisiana Lafayette. But I have to give credit to them. They got a very good football team, and we knew that going in, that they had lost 2 games, one against Kansas State and the other one against Arkansas, which are very good programs. And then they were coming to the friendly confines of their home and stadium. So, again, we knew we were getting in a tough situation. They were definitely the dominant team, but, again, the Colonels helped them a lot. So that's the thing we've got to correct is is that if we can just take care of the ball, minimize our penalties, then we can put ourselves in a position to win a lot of games. We're also, just like everybody else, kind of patching it together each week with injuries and newcomers and playing some young guys, but hopefully we'll start rotating some guys back in from the injury list. So, but we're excited. The biggest thing, it's been a challenging 3 weeks for my team, with the 3 FBS schools all on the road. We're kind of a little bit road weary, but we're ready to go again. We're getting charged up. I do like the response of our young men. Very tough loss, but we dealt with it, and we've already moved forward. Again, you can't let those things just hang with you forever. So we're moving forward just like victories. You got to kind of put it aside and get ready for the challenge ahead. We play in Langston this week, and I think they're a very good football team. Again, the thing about it, too, that brings added interest is that they have a lot of kids on their team from the state of Louisiana. So I know there'll be a lot of added incentive for them to play well. And, they'll have family and friends able to come here to Guidry Stadium and watch them play. So, again, the biggest thing I'm concerned about right now is the Colonels. I just want to see us getting better.
All right, we'll go ahead and open it up for questions now for Coach Stubbs at Nicholls State.
Hey, Coach, it's Teddy at the comment. How you doing this morning, buddy?
Good, Teddy.
Coach, just talk about, obviously, it was tough to, on this game here to evaluate and different things like that. But just Bull, playing quarterback last week, coming off the concussion against Oregon, just how did you feel he played? Obviously he made mistakes like everybody in this game, but how do you think he played? And how do you, obviously he didn't seem to have any lasting effects. He seems to be past that concussion.
I thought he played solid. Their defense made everything real erratic for us offensively because they were able to control the line of scrimmage. He got bounced out of the pocket numerous times and made some plays with his feet and also his throwing ability. Biggest thing, it was a major contact game. That game, very physical. But he made good decisions, and there was a couple of unfortunate drops, that kind of taken away from him a little bit in his productivity. But I feel good about him. I felt good about Toscani, that things got away because, again, to play quarterback and be effective, you got to have some help, and that's the thing that we've got to improve on, and we got everywhere offensively is just get 11 guys playing together. This week I even named Bo the captain because what I'm trying to do is get some kind of leadership from our quarterback position. They're good guys, but sometimes they hold back a little bit, and I want them to speak a little bit more and take some reins and feel like that you can say some things, not derogatory, but just, can kind of open your mouth and lead. And again, it was tough losing Kalen Henderson, to his broken leg a couple weeks ago. So, we're just moving forward, but I'm excited. I will give Toscani and Bo the work this week, but I don't think too many teams have played 4 quarterbacks in 3 games like I have. So it's a challenge. But we're going to keep fighting.
And just to follow up, Coach, being at home after these 3 road games, that's just to get that, I think you're the last conference team to play a home opener this year. I might be mistaken on that, but just to finally get it home, that's got to be a big plus.
Oh, it does. You think about it, even in preparation, when we were traveling like to Oregon and Western Michigan and all that, we were almost losing a whole day or so of preparation because even the Western Michigan victory, we got back on Sunday morning at 4 a.m. So, again, that's tough, and then you're traveling the next week. So it's going to be fun to have a full week of preparation. It's going to be fun to be in front of a supportive crowd because the last 3 opponents, it was their home openers, every one of them, and it was a packed crowd. But we had some good fans, and we appreciate them that went to Louisiana Lafayette and supported us. But we're excited. We need that 12th man in the stands to help encourage our guys through tough times. But, again, we're excited just to be at home.
Thank you, Coach.
You're welcome.
Anything else for Coach Stubbs? All right, Coach, appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Coach Roberts, are you with us? Ron, you may need to press *6 to unmute your phone line.
Hello, this is Coach Roberts.
Hi, Ron. Thanks for joining us. Joined now by Ron Roberts, the head coach at Southeastern Louisiana. Last week, the Lions lost at number 6 South Dakota State, 34-26, and this week visited Sanford Saturday at 2 p.m. Coach, talk a little bit about last week's game and what you're expecting from Sanford.
Last week you go up there, play number 6, and it was a great crowd, great environment. It was a hostile environment. It was a great place to play. I think it was a great experience for our guys to get in that situation and get in a big game versus a national contender. I thought we physically played well. Mentally, we did not. I think we had 12 penalties and we had 6 turnovers, which you're not going to beat a number 6. You're not going to beat a top-ranked team. It's hard to beat anybody with 6 turnovers and 12 penalties. So mentally, we didn't play a very good game, but I thought that physically we really did well. We had 500 yards of offense and held them to about 330, and held the nation's leading rusher there for the first half. He was from negative yardage, and so I thought we really were playing well early, and just didn't get the job done. But I was, things I was pleased with was our effort. We're down 2 possessions, and we come back there and we returned a kickoff for a touchdown and got the onside kick. And so we got the ball with 2 minutes to go and timeout and a chance to win the ball game, and didn't get it done. But I like where we're headed as a football team, and I think every time we do it, it's kind of a learning experience. It was a learning experience to get in that environment. It was a learning experience to play in a big game like that. I think if we take the lessons learned in that ball game, we're going to be a better football team because of it. When we go to Sanford, it'll be their home opener, and they're a very good football team. I think they got 3 players that are ranked in the top 100 in FCS football for pro prospects. So they're very talented. 2 weeks ago they go and they're up in the 4th quarter versus Arkansas. So they got some talented running backs. They got a very good quarterback. They got probably one of the best safeties in the country. And there's some linebackers that run really well and run to the ball. And we know that if this is their home opener, that they're going to have a packed house and a great environment. And it's going to be a very tough contest for us. We need to get a W. We need to go over there and we need to find a way to win that ball game and make sure we can eliminate the mistakes that we made, the penalties and the turnovers or things. It's very tough to win on the road, especially with turnovers and penalties. You're not going to do that. So we got to play a little smarter. We got to play a little more mature. And I think if we can use last week as a lesson learned, then we're going to do that. If we do that, then I think we'll be very positive.
All right, we'll open it up for questions now for Ron Roberts, the head coach at Southeastern Louisiana. Media, you may need to press *6 to unmute your phone.
Hey, Coach, it's Ted at the Daily Comment in Thibodeau. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Fine, Coach. Go talk about Xavier Robertson and what he was able to do returning kicks for y'all last week.
Yeah, he's a very explosive kick returner. I think in the last 5 ball games, going back to last year, he's turned 3 kickoff returns for touchdowns in the last 5 ball games he's played in. So he has a knack for it. He's got great vision, and he's an explosive player. And so they set up some great field position there in the second half for a touchdown, and then obviously, so he returned 1 pass to 50, and he returned another one, for a touchdown. And he's an explosive player, and he can do that week in and week out if the people don't kick him the ball.
Thank you, Coach.
Other questions for Coach Roberts at Southeastern Louisiana?
Coach, this is Al speaking, like Charles. This isn't really a football question, but I saw that they're going to unveil a statue of Bobby Bowden there this Saturday, and he'll be in attendance. I mean, as a coach, how neat is it for you to be able to play a game in front of a legendary college football figure like that?
Well, obviously that's a great experience, and it's an honor to be able to do that, and not only what he's done for Sanford, in that program, what he means to them, but what he means to college football in general. He's done a lot for this game, and it's going to be obviously an honor to be able to play in front of him and be there and be on the same stadium as he is.
Thank you. Other questions for Coach Roberts? All right, Coach, appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Coach Thomas, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, joined now by Jay Thomas, the head coach at Northwestern State. Last week, getting my notes in front of me. Last week, the Demons lost at Cincinnati 66-9, and this week they head to Birmingham, just like Southeastern, to take on UAB. Both of those games are Saturday at 2. Coach, talk a little bit about the game last week up in Ohio and then what you're expecting from UAB.
Well, I'll tell you what, Cincinnati really has a really fine football team, and, it was very evident, in watching them and breaking them down, beating Purdue the way they did, and then had a tough loss at Illinois, and then losing their quarterback to a real significant and bad injury. But they came out and played really inspired football and playing for, one of their teammates and changed the offense a little bit with a different quarterback, and that gave us some problems in the course of the game. But their offensive line is really impressive, Big East type guys, and big and physical, and they, ran the football extremely well, and really good running backs, receivers, very talented, and gave us a lot of problems defending them. And then on the flip side of that, we struggled moving the football. Their defense was very long, very aggressive, very fast, and it was not until late in the game where we got some things established where we could start getting some first downs. But we have a 7-minute goal in the opening part of the game that we wanted to play very well in the first 7 minutes and protect the football, and we almost made it out of that 7-minute window. We had our defense went out, we had a 3-and-out stop, and we had a chance to get a couple of first downs there, but we had a turnover that ended up turning into a big score for them, and it kind of went from there. We learned a lot about our team in this game. Obviously, we learned a lot about our team in the first 2 games, winning those ball games, and then coming into this ball game, really stepping up and playing a quality opponent like Cincinnati, and you have to give them all the credit. Coach Tuberville and his staff, man, they're doing a wonderful job up there. Very good football team, but outside the X's and O's, we learned a lot about our guys, and in the course of a ball game like that. So our maturity level needs to get better. Our sideline control, those things, getting things adjusted on the sideline. We need to continue to make a step forward in that direction as we get ready and prepare for another tough challenge this week, going over to UAB. And UAB is a very talented football team. Played Troy State to an overtime loss in that game, but it was a very competitive game, and Troy has a great football program as well. So UAB presents a lot of problems. Very big and physical in their offensive line as well. Their running game is very good. They played LSU a week ago. They've had an open date to rest up a little bit, and we will be their home opener, like a lot of us have had to deal with. But they rushed for 160 yards against LSU. That's very impressive. So very similar probably to Cincinnati, in the fact that the game plans will probably be very similar. We're going to have to do a great job on defense defending the run, and then, of course, the play-action pass. We've got to get better in those areas defensively. Offensively, we're going to have to get our run game established, and UAB's defense is very similar to Cincinnati's defense. They've got a lot of length, a lot of speed across the board. So, it's going to be another challenge, and what we're looking for our team to do is just continue to make steps forward. Last week, Cincinnati We just kind of stabilized. We didn't make that kind of step that we needed to make going into the third ball game. So going into this fourth ball game, we need to make that step. Make it a positive step. Our guys are still encouraged. We came in Sunday night. We got everything reviewed and fixed the problems that we needed to fix. And so our guys are excited about getting back on the practice field today, and we're looking forward to getting the week started and preparing for another long road trip over to Birmingham. But ought to be an exciting ball game. It's a great opportunity for our guys to get out and play up and play, a higher level competition.
We'll open it up for questions now for Jay Thomas, the head coach at Northwestern State. Again, media, you may need to press *6 to unmute your phone line.
Coach,
hey,
Brett, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, Brett.
All right, Brett McCormick with the Town Talk here, Coach.
Hey,
When a game starts to get away from you like the Cincinnati game did, as a coach, what are you looking for in those moments? What are you hoping to learn from your team at that point?
Well, we've been fortunate, and in the two previous games that we're still in evaluation mode with a lot of our guys, and we're still in the developmental mode with a lot of our backup type players, and that way. So once that starts to happen a little bit for us, we really felt like that our first group did a lot of really good things out there on the field. But it also gives you an opportunity when it does get that way. You can start working on getting your backups in there, and we even got our third group in there to evaluate them going against top-notch talent. And so it gives us a better idea as we prepare into the next ball game. And then, of course, that down the road, our conference is so tough, with everybody being really, really good. Hopefully that pays dividends for us as we get into the conference. The more we can get those younger guys in there. And we got a lot of new faces across the board. And, and it was the first time for a lot of those guys to get in that type of setting, playing in front of 65, 70,000 folks, and they were excited about getting the opportunity to play. But it gives us a chance to continue to develop our football team, and we're still young in a lot of different areas. So, and we want to do that. And but we felt good about our ones and what they were able to do. The first group out there, we just got to continue. We found positives in the game. Once you go back and you watch the film, and you see. A lot of the guys that you expected to play well did play well. A lot of the younger guys, they got to see, and understand how they need to pay attention to details during the course of the week. And, when you play a really good team, every hat placement, every hand placement, everything has to be spot on. And so really feel like our team should progress this week in that area. As we get into our practice this afternoon and the rest of the week in our game prep for UAB.
Coach, you touched on this a little bit already, but wanting to see the players bounce back in practice this week. You talked about Sunday night. They were in a pretty good mindset. What do you hope to see from your team mentally this week after that game?
Well, and it's the biggest thing is the attitude. How you approach these type of games. And then making sure the team understands, where we're trying to get to. And it's a building block. It's a process along the way. And, it was a great opportunity to go play Cincinnati. And they were able to expose us in a lot of different areas. But now our guys, just like I mentioned before, they understand now, all right, at practice, I need to pay attention to doing these other little things correctly, because we can get exposed playing, a really good opponent. And so it can't do anything but help you. So, we don't like to lose football games, number one. But we can definitely find a lot of positives in there. And it's separate from the X's and O's sometimes. It's a lot of other things that you learn from it. So I'm expecting our team to progress, in that area.
Coach Brett, again, you just touched on something I was fixing to ask you about progress. A lot of times when you see a a team like Cincinnati, it's the first time these guys have maybe seen that level of competition, at least this year. Do you expect that maybe they won't be, I don't know if shell shock's the right word, but maybe they'll respond better to it this weekend after seeing it last weekend?
Well, hopefully so. We do. Yes, we do. And, the older guys that have been here, they've gone against the Baylors and the Texas Techs and those guys before. And it was evident, in the game. The older guys, they knew how to prepare for it. They knew what to expect. And then as you go back and you're watching and you're grading your film, and that was the guys that, played well and held their own, and the didn't have the missed assignments. It's the newer guys, the younger guys that you have playing those positions. It was the first time for them to be in that type of environment and play that caliber of competition. So, really feel like those guys are going to benefit the most, and they're excited. Of course, they were obviously very down after the game and wanted to perform a lot better than we did. And I would expect them to bounce back today and this week, going through the learning process Sunday night through, evaluation of the film where we had opportunities offensively. We missed some reads here or there to get the ball where it needed to get to the folks we needed to get the ball to. So it should be a lot sharper this week, and then playing that type of competition ought to get us better and also get us prepared for UAB, UAB's a really good football team, play two tough games themselves to open up the season.
Anything else for Coach Thomas? All right, Coach, appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Coach Viator, are you with us?
Yes, sir.
All right, joined now by McNeese State head coach Matt Viator. Last week, the Cowboys beat West Alabama 44-42, and this week return home to play host to Weber State. That game is Saturday at 7 o'clock. McNeese State is off to a 3-0 start. Coach, talk a little bit about that close game last week against a very strong Division II opponent, and then what you're expecting from Weber State on Saturday.
Well, it was a great game. We're definitely fortunate to win. We fell behind early and seemed like we were behind the whole game, but give West Alabama credit. Thought they came in with a great game plan and really played good. They have a lot of speed, and we knew that going into the game, and certainly had some really good skill players and a lot of speed across the board, and gave us some trouble. But fortunately, we put together the last drive and found a way to win. And with Cody's pass to Spencer there, with less than a minute to go in the game. So excited to win, and certainly excited to be 3-0. But we have Weber coming in this week, and common familiar opponent, having played them last year. Very physical football team. It was a physical game last year, and watching them this year, and look a lot the same. Their offense has changed, to more of a spread attack, but I thought they were very impressive in their first game against Stephen F. Austin, and the last 2 weeks they've been a little overmatched against Utah and Utah State, but really like their football team. I like what they're doing on offense. They have a dual threat quarterback and do some things that really can give you some problems. The head coach at Montana is now the offensive coordinator from last year, and has the heavy Oregon influence in what they do on offense, and very formidable. Defensively, just really physical, and they're going to come after us, and we know that. So it was a very competitive game last year, and certainly looking forward to it again this year.
All right, we'll open it up for questions now for Matt Viator, the head coach at McNeese State. Media, you may need to press *6 to unmute your phone line. Coach, talk about the play of your quarterback. Obviously, this week's Offensive Player of the Week, and completing 14 consecutive passes, throwing 5 touchdowns, and then obviously 366 yards. Quite an impressive feat for him last Saturday.
Yeah, we thought he had a good game. He did have the one interception, but other than that, it was really solid. Threw the ball well. I think he's moving a lot better this year, and and that's certainly shown in the first 3 weeks of the season so far. He's he had a couple good scrambles and scrambled out and threw some good balls, and so I think his overall pocket movement this year has improved, and certainly his grasp of the offense has continued to improve. But he had a really good game, and we certainly needed all of it.
Other questions for Coach Viator? You talk about his play, and obviously your team has put up over 500 yards on offense the last 2 weeks. Talk about how that has developed with your team and how you found offensive success.
I don't know. That's a tough one. We got behind last week, so we had to throw more, and we also Tyler Bofing had a long pass too, so we ended up throwing for over 400 yards this last week. But the week before was predominantly run. It was more run probably than pass. So I don't know. We're just still trying. I think like everybody is trying to find their identity and what it is they're doing. And it just so happened that this last week was more passing, than running. But we obviously want to have balance like everybody does, and certainly we needed it this last week because we once we got behind, we needed to be able to throw the football and move the football throwing it, and we were fortunate enough we were able to do that.
Any other questions for Coach Viator today?
Hey, Matt, this is Alex. I just wanted to check with you on if you've heard anything yet on Hayden Dobbs' status for the first half this week.
I have not. No. I've spoken with the commissioner, and he and Byron Boston. They've been fantastic, and I think they're waiting to hear from the NCAA.
All right.
Anything else? All right, Coach. Appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Todd.
You bet. Ray, are you with us? Ray, you may need to press *6 to unmute your phone line.
I'm here. You hear me?
We got you now. Thank you. Right. Joined now by Ray Woodard, the head coach at Lamar. Last week, the Cardinals lost at Oklahoma State 59-3, and this week return home to play host to Bacone College Saturday at 7 p.m. Coach, talk about last week a little bit, and then give us a preview of what you're expecting from the game on Saturday.
Well, it was our first time to play a Big 12 school. Oklahoma State got a great program. They're at the top of the Big 12 right now, and deservedly so. It was a great experience for our players. We played a big, strong, fast, athletic team in a hostile environment. I was very proud of the way we competed. We did some good things in the ball game, but like I told Coach Gundy after the game, we were outmatched and congratulated him and moved on. We played two good football teams the last 2 weeks on the road, and if we approach it right and do the things that we need to do, we'll benefit from doing that. But now it's time to move on, and each week brings new challenges. And the challenge this week is can we come back home and have a little bit of amnesia and move on. And that's probably my number one job as the head coach this week. Every week since we started camp, we've improved every week, and things have been positive and moving in the right direction. And I got to make sure that we continue to do that. And we need to focus all of our attention on Bacone. I think Coach Rubley, looking first at his staff, he's put together a very good veteran staff. They do a great job. They're coming off a winning season, and I like what I see on film with their team. So we need to focus on Bacone, because if we don't, it could be a long day for us. And so that's what we're going to have to do. We put in good weeks every week, and I got to see that we do the same thing this week.
All right, we'll open it up for questions now for Ray Woodard at Lamar.
Hey, Coach, it's Ted from the Common in Thibodeau. How you doing this morning, Coach?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine, Coach. Coach, talk a little bit about your true freshman running back, Cade Harrington. I seen you gave him the ball 20 times last week, and he did produce over 60 yards against a pretty good, Oklahoma State defense. Just talk about how he's progressed for you so far this season.
Well, he's been by far the biggest and most pleasant surprise out of our freshman class. We're to the point now, out of our freshman class, we're not expecting many of them to come in here and start for us. I kind of had the idea that we would redshirt him this year when he got to camp. It was apparent early on that wasn't going to happen. He started making a case for himself to play right off the bat. He's just gotten better every day. Very impressed with his maturity for a freshman. He knows his playbook as well as anybody on our team. He's just done a great job, and I've enjoyed watching him work out in practice. Early on, I was a little concerned because he was doing some things to our defense, and I was wanting to make sure that it wasn't just our defense he could do it against, and it's held up that way. He's off to a great start, and I enjoy watching him play, and I'm very excited to have him here for 4 years. I think he's just going to get better, and he's got a great future ahead of him.
Thank you, Coach.
All right.
Other questions for Ray Woodard at Lamar? Coach Caleb Berry continues to do good things for your offense. Talk about his contributions. 245 yards per game on offense with 214 passing. Just talk about his contributions.
Well, after the first game, we knew we were going to go on the road and play two very good FBS schools back to back. And a lot of your offense begins and ends with your quarterback play. He's done a very good job commanding our offense and running it. And he's just gotten better and better. If you look at what we're doing offensively, it's Coach Keck and the staff's done a great job. But also, Coach, he's like a coach. Caleb Berry deserves a lot of the credit. Right now, we're the two areas of offense that we really wanted to improve from last year was penalties. Right now, I think we're the least penalized team in the league. A lot of that is pre-snap penalties. We've really cut down on the procedure penalties and turnovers. Right now, we're at +3, and we've done a very good. We've only had 4 turnovers in 3 games, and Caleb's got a lot to do with that. He's done a very good job with our offense, and his leadership skills. He's probably the best leader on the football team. And again, we got him all this year and all next year. And as he progresses, we progress offensively. And I'm looking for even bigger and better things out of him as this season progresses.
Other questions for Coach Woodard at Lamar? All right, Coach, appreciate your time. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Coach Fritz, are you with us?
Yes, sir.
All right, joined now by Sam Houston State head coach Willie Fritz. Last week, the Bearcats beat Texas Southern 55-17, and this week return home, or stay at home, and take on Incarnate Word. That game is Saturday at 6 p.m. Coach, talk a little bit about your win last week and then what you're expecting from the Cardinals on Saturday.
Well, we started off pretty slow offensively. We were down 3-0, and I think in the last 5 minutes we scored 28 points. So we really got going ahead of, uncharacteristically of us. We had a lot of turnovers and didn't make some conversions and dropped some passes and just didn't play very well coming out of the box offensively, but defensively played really well in the first half through, 4 minutes left in the third quarter when we took all of our ones and some of our twos out. We'd given up just 16 yards, and they got quite a few yards during that last quarter, but I was really impressed with our play defensively, through 3 quarters. Torrance Williams had some big punt returns for us, gave us good field position. I thought a couple of our inside linebackers, Eric Failo and Tanner Brock, played very well. Then on offense, Timothy Flanders set a new Southland Conference record for career touchdowns, had a couple touchdowns in the ball game. Incarnate Word, Coach Keenan's been there. I think this is their 5th year at their program. Been there for a couple seasons. Very sound, a little more of a pro style offensively. It kind of brings a little of that NFL flavor to our conference as far as their style and what they do offensively. Defensively, they're running a 3-4. I think very sound. Do a good job
getting in the right gaps, bringing a fourth guy. Not quite sure where that guy's going to come from, and do a good job of not letting you get over the top of them, and really play hard in the kicking game. So we're excited about another home game. This one will be at 6:00 Saturday evening, and and I know Incarnate Word's excited about joining the conference.
All right, we'll open it up for questions now for Willie Fritz, the head coach at Sam Houston State. Coach, you mentioned Timothy Flanders' career touchdown record this last week, and now he's just 132 rushing yards away from becoming the conference's all-time leading rusher. Just every week it seems like there's another accomplishment that he's adding to his career.
Well, those are some big-time records. They've been playing football in the Southland Conference for 50 years. There's been some great backs that have come through this league, and Timothy certainly is one. He's the biggest play of the game, in my opinion, by him. We threw an interception, and they returned it almost for a touchdown. And from my angle, I thought it was going to be a touchdown for sure. And he tracked the guy down and tackled him on about the 9-yard line. We ended up only giving a field goal up. That was early in the game. So a tremendous effort play by him, and it's something that I can point out to our players. Here's a guy that's got quite a few records and a lot of accomplishments, and plays the game extremely hard and plays it the right way.
Questions for Willie Fritz at Sam Houston.
Coach, it's Brandon Lawrence from the Sports Network in Philadelphia. How are you doing today?
Good.
I know you never want to look ahead on the schedule, but with Eastern Washington coming in 2 weeks, and given your history against Big Sky teams, especially in the recent playoffs, do you feel that there's something of a Southland Big Sky rivalry between the conferences?
Oh, I'm not quite sure. I know we've played quite a few Big Sky teams over the last few years. I think Sam Houston's always kind of played some Big Sky schools. I'm not sure how many other teams in the conference. I think we've played a few of them, but it's always tough down in our region to find FCS games to play. There just aren't a whole lot of FCS schools down this way. So the more that we can get out and play top-notch teams and in other conferences throughout the nation, I think is very good for the Southland Conference.
And that's another thing too, is that being with so many FCS schools regionalized on the East Coast, is it sort of even a regional rivalry between these two conferences?
Maybe a little bit. I know that there's a lot of good play out there. They've really come out of the box fast and played well. I think the Southland Conference is an extremely competitive conference as well. And you're when you start looking at the top teams in the Southland Conference and the Big Sky, you're looking at some of the best teams in the nation year in and year out. So I think the more we can play, against other top-notch conferences, I think it's better for us. In the East, it seems that they have more teams in their league, and it's harder to find games, or there's more opportunities for them to find regional games, and just a little bit more difficult down here with basically, the Southland Conference and the SWAC being the only teams in this region.
All right, great. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Other questions for Willie Fritz at Sam Houston State? All right, Coach, appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Coach Harper, are you with us? May need to press *6 to unmute your phone line. Coach Harper? All right, while we're waiting on Coach Harper to join us, go over their result from last week. They beat McMurray 50-13. The Lumberjacks are at home this week against number 3/2 Montana State. That game is Saturday at 6 p.m. On ESPN3, as well as local television in those markets and statewide up in Montana. Coach Harper, are you with us? may need to unmute your phone line by pressing *6. All right, I'm going to try to track him down here. Give us just a moment, please. JC, are you with us? We're waiting on J.C. Harper, the head coach at Stephen F. Austin. Coach Kennan, are you on the call? All right, we're still holding for J.C. Harper, the head coach at Stephen F. Austin. Coach, if you have joined us, you may need to press *6 to unmute the phone line. Hopefully that will help. We do have Coach Larry Kennan, coming up on the call after Coach Harper. If he's on the call, we may jump ahead. All right, I've been informed that Coach Harper is dialing in now, so hopefully he'll join us here momentarily. The Lumberjacks, as I mentioned earlier, beat McMurray last week. That was their first win of the season. They're 1-2 on the year. That was the home opener, so they're 1-0 at home. They've lost 2 on the road. After playing Montana State Saturday, they will host Prairie View A&M September 28th and then begin conference play October 12th at Southeastern Louisiana. Holding for J.C. Harper at Stephen F. Austin.
Hello, I'm here. This is J.C. Harper.
All right. Thanks for joining us. Joined now by J.C. Harper. Coach, talk a little bit about your first win of the season last week against McMurray, and then what you're expecting this week from a highly ranked Montana State team.
Well, we were very excited to be at home and come back and extend our streak since 2009 of winning home games to 22-4, and it was just a great evening. It was a great first game, and we had a lot of guys play very well. I thought Gus Johnson played pretty well. He only played for a half and rushed for like over 100 yards. Tyler Boyd, another receiver for us, that caught the ball for over 100 yards. And Smith Ford really stepped it up and played well. Doug Brady played really well. And defensively, it's probably our best game thus far this season, and really doing well against the run. And had a couple snaffles on pass, but for the most part, we did pretty well. And I was really pleased with our effort. I thought it was a great night. Nick Bruno continues to be a really effective punter, and punted the heck out of the ball down at inside the 20 quite a few times, which really set up a few scores and played the field position game, and it came out for us. Coming back home this weekend, I don't know, if it gets much bigger, in the time since 2009, going 22-4 at home. We've had 4 games that we've lost, and 2 of those were Texas State, 1 to Northern Iowa, and then 1 to Villanova in the playoffs. So we also beat Eastern Washington as a big game in the playoffs at home. McNeese State a few years ago, it was a huge game, 16-13 at home. To me, it's just another one of those games, that we're so fortunate to be able to play Montana State at home, such a well-coached football team. Very, very, their ranking could very well be number 1, considering they lost to SMU with only 12 seconds to go in the game. And very, very well coached, very talented football team. Got a great running back in Cody Clark. Their offensive line is very physical. Their defense is about as disciplined as you can get. I think they've perfected the defense they play, and they do it very well. They got a really, really good defensive end, and very, very sound in special teams. And we're going to have our best game by far, and play tremendously well to be able to beat such a great football team that very well could be playing for the national championship in January.
All right, we'll open it up for questions now for J.C. Harper, the head coach at Stephen F. Austin. Media, you may need to press *6 to unmute your phone.
Coach, it's Brandon Lawrence from the Sports Network in Philadelphia. How are you doing today?
I'm good, Brandon. Thanks for having me on the call today.
No problem. So I asked this question to Coach Fritz a few minutes ago, and with Montana State coming up for you on the schedule, and you mentioned Eastern Washington a ways back, do you feel that with so many teams regionalized in the East, that there's something of a rivalry between the Southland and the Big Sky Conference?
I think so. I think that is a really great thing that we have going on, and kind of similar to the Big Ten playing the Pac-12 this past weekend. And I think us being in the regional, when you break down the NCAA playoffs and they go by regions, us being in the West region with the Big Sky, I think it makes it where there's kind of that rivalry, as you would say. And to me, we're just very thankful that Rob Ash and Montana State want to play, because typically we don't get Montana State and Nacogdoches. And I was telling a group of people that support our program that when I was coaching and I looked down there and I saw Villanova, my office looks right down on the visiting locker room, and it's just kind of really neat to see such great teams come to Nacogdoches and East Texas, and so we're very thankful.
Great, thank you, Coach.
Yes, sir.
Other questions for Coach Harper?
Hey, Coach. This is
go ahead.
Gore.
Hey, Kevin.
Go ahead, Kevin.
Maybe just to comment on Montana State's offense now that they don't have McGee with his injuries. It looks to me like, does it even make them a little more of a mystery team to you because they may be more balanced? And, with McGee, you knew you had to keep him in the pocket and you had to limit his scrambles. So with him not there, just talk about the challenge for your defense.
Well, I mean, either way you go, it's a challenge. I mean, and the reason is, Kevin, because they're so balanced and they're so well coached. I mean, if you put on the film, it's like putting on a clinic. And I mean, if they're going to the left, they're all stepping right. Everything's right. Everything looks right. So well coached. And the thing that's different with Denarius and why it makes him an All-American is he's able to, when things aren't right, he's able to make something out of a bad play. And that is a very unusual quality, and that's what makes him an All-American. That's what makes him so special. Not only running the football, but he finds guys downfield to throw the football. Very similar to Manziel, at A&M. Whereas the guy now, I mean, he's just new. He just hasn't gotten that yet. And so whether or not he has that ability to do that or not, I haven't seen. But I know this, as far as running the offense and being efficient and executing what they want to get done, I don't think they've missed a beat.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
Yes, sir.
Anything else for Coach Harper?
I apologize for being late today. My phone was messing up.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, and wish you well Saturday.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. You bet. Coach Kennan, are you with us?
I am.
All right. Joined now by Larry Kennan, the head coach at Incarnate Word. Last week, just getting to your schedule here. Last week, beat Langston 24-0. You're 2-1 on the season with the opening loss at Central Arkansas and then a win over Texas College. You joined us that first week on the call. Maybe bring us up to speed with what you've done the last couple weeks and then what you're expecting from your game at Sam Houston State on Saturday.
Yeah, thank you. We beat Texas College badly and shut them out, and they were not very good at that point, and we were a lot better than we were last year, and we beat them, and then we played Langston University and held them to a net 65 total yards on defense and gained 405 yards and beat them 24-0. And as I said, we're better than we were last year, but we're not even close to being where we need to be. And we found out about ourselves when we went to Central Arkansas early in the year, and we found out about how to beat Texas College and Langston. Now we play Sam Houston at Sam, and they're really what we want to be in a couple of years. And whereas we have a team that's primarily sophomores and freshmen, they have a team that's primarily juniors and seniors, and so they're a couple of years ahead of us in recruiting and team-wise. They've been to the national championship a couple of years, and so it's we're honored to play them. Willie Fritz does a fabulous job of coaching that team, and they're well disciplined. They run to the ball. They play hard. As I said, we're just trying to get to be like them in a couple of years.
All right, we'll go ahead and open it up for questions now for Coach Kennan at Incarnate Word. Coach, your games here against Southland foes that happen to be against the defending champions. Talk about how tough a task that is as you begin your transition to Division I.
Yeah, the schedule makers didn't do us any favors. We played Central, and then we played Sam, and then our sixth game of the season was against Southeast Louisiana. Those were the top three teams in the league last year, and so we'll get indoctrinated into the conference early. And as I've said a couple times, by the time we get through week 6, we have a bye week after that. We'll know a lot more about ourselves and about the character of our team and how the young guys come through all this. But it's you can't be the best unless you play the best. So we need to find out where we're at because we're going to play a full conference schedule next year.
Questions for Coach Kennan? Coach, obviously you got to see Sam Houston State last year. Is there anything that you can learn from that previous matchup?
Yeah, I was so impressed with them when I watched them last year. They execute so well on offense. Their running back is spectacular. Their quarterback really manages the game well. On defense, they really run to the ball, and it's something we're learning how to do. And everybody would like to be what they are on defense, but they have really good athletes and a great scheme, and they're obviously well coached. And if they don't run to the ball, then I'm sure they don't play much because everybody who's in there runs fast to the ball, and I'm very impressed with them. As I said, Willie Fritz does a wonderful job.
Anything else for Coach Kennan today? All right, Coach, appreciate your time, and we'll talk to you again one more time before you play Southeastern Louisiana. I believe the date of that call is October the 1st. So thanks for joining us, and best of luck as you go on this year.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All right, that will wrap up today's call. We appreciate everyone for joining us today. We'll have a replay of the call available at southland.org later today. So with that, we'll speak with everyone again next Tuesday at 10:30 a.m. Central Time. Thank you.